There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
Hey everybody, Brian from the Star Wars Canon Library here, and you heard the man, there were stories, and they're all true. Guys, this is going to be my review video for the last Del Rey novel to come out, and it is going to be the review of Thrawn. This is a book I was really looking forward to, especially considering our past history with Thrawn as far as the EU goes, the Thrawn trilogy, Heir to the Empire. And when I heard that Timothy Zahn was coming back to write this book, I got even more excited for it. So, I mean, this was really a great novel. It's a great addition to the new Star Wars canon. And even though Rebels brought Thrawn back into canon, I almost feel like this is what did it. The Thrawn we got in this novel was a classic Thrawn. He was straight out of Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. It was straight out of it. The one thing that was different about this than the other Thrawn novels, though, was that this one focused a lot more on him explaining how he came to certain conclusions with certain battle tactics and certain conclusions, stuff like that. And I enjoyed it greatly. It was an excellent read. It did take me a little bit of time to get through it just because of how busy I was, and I'm sorry it's taking so long to get this review out. But I just finished the book last night. I only had like 30 pages to go for like the last 3 or 4 days, and I figured I was gonna sit down and get it done. This novel starts about 7 years before the Battle of Yavin, so about 7 years before A New Hope. And the book follows his ascension through the ranks, as we all know, because by Rebels, he is Grand Admiral Thrawn. And you see how he comes to be in the Empire in this book, in the new canon. You see how he comes to be in the Empire, who gets him there, who was involved. A lot of the opposition that he came up against, with it being an all-human empire, essentially. With him being a non-human, a lot of the bullying and a lot of the discrimination that was against him. And the young man that follows him throughout this whole thing, his military compatriot, I should say, his trainee, I guess. But it was absolutely great to read this novel and to actually get a canon version of Thrawn again. So, I'm not going to make this review very long, but I do want to go through some of the pros and the one con that I had with this book. Some of the pros I had with it was, like I said, it was classic Thrawn. I actually felt like I was reading, sometimes I almost felt like I was reading Heir to the Empire again. The military tactics that Thrawn shows in this book are spot on from what we remember from the 90s, with Zahn's original go at this character when he first came up with him. It's spot on, and a lot of it, like in the book, it would say, certain details happened during a battle. And you wouldn't think anything of it until the battle was said and over, and then he explains that one little detail is what gave something away. And I mean, it's absolutely amazing to see, and you realize that yes, the character Thrawn, we all know he's a fictional character, but the character Thrawn isn't the genius. It's actually the man writing it, Zahn, because at the beginning of every chapter in this book, there's like a little military lesson type thing, kind of like it's Thrawn narrating essentially what's going to happen in the next chapter. And when you read some of these and you start to piece them together, you start to realize that Timothy Zahn is a freaking genius, and that he's the one that's coming up with all of this. And it's so inspiring to see something like that, And this book is I mean, obviously, Heir to the Empire is no longer canon, as far as we know. I don't think they're ever going to bring it in, but as far as that's concerned, this is an excellent, I guess you could say, replacement, substitute, pick a word, whichever one you want to use, for Heir to the Empire, and I absolutely love this book. The only con that I really had with it, and it's not even really so much a bad thing, we know that, we knew going into this book that where it was going to take place in the timeline. leading up to Rebels. And that's what this book does. It leads right up to when he is introduced into Rebels. And there are certain characters that are along the way. One of them is Price, Governor Price from Rebels. And it's kind of, throughout the book, you see where she started, 7 years before Rebels, and how she came to be governor of Lothal. And there were times in the book where I was more interested in what was going on with her than I was Thrawn. I know it's a Thrawn novel, it's his novel, but I was more interested sometimes in what was going on with her, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, essentially you were able to tell two stories in one in this. But the Price story was actually very, very interesting at times, and kind of had me on the edge of my seat more than the Thrawn parts did at times. But even with that being said, I love this novel. I rank it up there. It's really, really high on my list. I'd have to hang on. I did a ranking. It would actually be my third favorite novel at this point. And I'm so glad we have this novel to add to the canon shelf. Overall, it's a great addition to canon. Excellent use of characters from the original trilogy. You can pretty much surmise that Tarkin's in this book a little bit, and then a couple others. I don't want to give any spoilers in this review. But like I said, it coincides with Rebels very, very well. And actually, there's a mention of what's going on in Rebels in this book as well. You can tell they're happening simultaneously. So, guys, definitely go check this book out. It's absolutely great, especially if you were from the same generation as me or the one before where you read Heir to the Empire and that was your official continuation of Return of the Jedi, and you love Thrawn. Go check out this book. I think that goes without saying. Anybody who loved Heir to the Empire in the Thrawn trilogy is going to go pick this book up, and it's definitely worth the read. You guys are really going to enjoy it. Hey guys, make sure to check out the website. It is www.starwarscanonlibrary.com. You can email us anytime with any questions for any Star Wars canon material whatsoever. It's just StarWarsCanonLibrary@gmail.com. Make sure to check out our Facebook page as well. It is facebook.com/Star Wars Canon Library. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. There's plenty more videos coming where this one came from. If you really liked it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'd sure appreciate it. So until next time, guys, this is Brian signing off, and may the Force be with you.